Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в Ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов. Я например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Мадалены, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалена.
You know, if we as coaches think Jack is easier, we're stupid.
Yeah.
We are very stupid. Then we didn't watch the Bilal fight because Bilal can take a hell of a shot. He can take a hell of a shot, and he took him. And he gave him two. Bilal gave him two. So it was a war. That fight was a.
Before we move further, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you stay updated with every major development in the fight world. Let's jump right in. Khabib Nurmagomedov recently spoke out about the highly anticipated matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. According to him, JDM presents a significantly tougher challenge for Islam than Ilia Topuria ever did. Max Holloway also shared his view, saying many fans are sleeping on Jack, even though he's one of the best fighters in the sport today and currently holds the number 2 pound-for-pound ranking. He mentioned that the fight might happen in October and expects it to be tactical, intense, and thrilling. Max offered a word of caution.
I think he'd be fine, man. I think he'd be good, but people be sleeping on Jack, you know what I mean? And I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is gonna find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's gonna be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out. Kind of reminds me of when I was like coming up and counting me out about certain fights. So I mean, he is, he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world right now, but he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world for a reason. So you gotta respect that, but. Don't sleep on Jack. I think it's going to be a tough and fun fight.
Meanwhile, Joaquin Buckley gave his thoughts on Islam's potential jump to welterweight. He pointed out that JDM is coming off a brutal 5-round battle with Belal Muhammad and questioned whether Jack will even be ready in time. Buckley also noted how impressive Jack looked during that fight, saying his boxing resembled that of Canelo Alvarez.
You talk to your brother Islam, you know what I'm saying? He trying to make them big moves up to 170. They trying to make that fight happen with him and JDM, but JDM just went through a whole 5-round war. I don't think my man gonna make it to that fight. He made Belal look like he really had.
Returning to Khabib, he made it clear that, in his view, Jack Della Maddalena might be the most dangerous fighter Islam could possibly face. He explained that Jack's size advantage, grappling ability, and technical skills make him a much bigger threat than Ilia. Khabib said if he were coaching Islam to face either Jack or Ilia, he'd be more nervous preparing for Jack because of his grappling game.
Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в Ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Мое личное мнение, во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Для меня, если я буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Мадалены, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалена.
Gilbert Burns weighed in too, revealing that Jack Della Maddalena is one of the hardest punchers he's ever come across, even more powerful than Khamzat Chimaev and Kamaru Usman. Burns explained that Jack's jab alone felt unexpectedly heavy. Though Burns was able to control him with wrestling at moments, Jack still managed to land a clean knee. Burns warned others to respect Jack's power.
JDM is one of the guys that I fought that hits the hardest. And I fought Woodley for Hamza. That guy gave me a little jab and then wow. God.
JDM and Belal Muhammad. You've been in there with both of them.
I was able to wrestle him, kind of control him a little bit. At the end, the guy did his thing. I ate a beautiful knee. You can feel it was not a stiff jab. It was just like pick and then wow, that guy hits hard. You gotta watch out with that.
Craig Jones, known for his grappling expertise, praised Jack's scrambling, calling it the best in MMA. He believes that Jack can beat Islam, especially due to the size difference. He also brought up how Islam had difficulty with Volkanovski on the ground, and expects Jack to create even tougher situations. Craig even questioned whether Islam would return to lightweight and face Ilia again if he loses at welterweight.
How do you think the fight against Islam goes?
I think it's a super difficult fight. Obviously, he's faced Volk twice, so the first one very competitive. And now he's facing a guy that's best scrambling ability, period, in all of MMA. I think that's what Belal struggled with. So I think the size difference is going to be quite a lot than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground, how much Islam struggled with him. Jack beats Islam, puts Islam in a difficult position. Does he now go back down to fight Ilia after he loses?
Alexander Volkanovski added that Jack's fight against Belal was an ideal test ahead of meeting Islam. Volkanovski said that stuffing Belal's takedowns likely gave Jack a big confidence boost and demonstrated that his defensive wrestling has reached another level. He's convinced that even top-tier grapplers will struggle to control Jack.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Jorge Masvidal shared a more balanced view. While he complimented Jack's hands and his improved takedown defense, Jorge sided with Islam overall. He believes Islam's grappling is on another level. According to Jorge, Jack may start strong with his boxing, but Islam's relentless pressure and wrestling will eventually take over.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is, though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam. Jack, #1 pound. Wow, that's impressive. You know, I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Belal.
Belal has the best cardio in MMA, but Belal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique. Not same. Very good, very aggressive. Belal never stops a dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he can go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
When Ilia Topuria was asked about Islam's move to 170 and the matchup itself, he said it didn't concern him much. Right now, fighting isn't something that excites him. However, Ilia still had some strategic advice for Jack. Target Islam's body with straight shots to slow him down and interrupt his takedown rhythm. He believes solid body work can derail a grappler's whole plan and commended Jack's striking.
How do you think Islam Makhachev will do at 170 when he fights Jack Della Maddalena?
I don't know. I don't care, to be honest. I never thought about that, so I don't know.
Have any advice for Jack, who might be coming up against Islam Makhachev next?
The advice, like, he has to work the straight body shots, because that takes away the intentions of the takedown. If he works with the straight body shots, he's gonna stop his intentions of the takedowns, and he's doing a great job at the striking. I like how he fights.
Philip Rowe gave a confident prediction in Jack's favor, saying that he believes Jack would beat Islam. Rowe argued that Islam doesn't have the physical size to hang with the elite welterweights. He also pointed out that Jack's power and his ability to get back up after being taken down could overwhelm Islam. He even predicted that Jack would score a finish before the final bell.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chillin'. Hey, now listen, you're welterweight. You've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in the fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. Right. I think personally he'll stop at Islam.
Dustin Poirier analyzed the matchup and said it all depends on what happens early in the fight. If Islam can bring Jack to the mat early on, he believes Islam could control things from there. But if Jack can stuff the takedowns, Dustin said his powerful boxing and physical strength could really put Islam in trouble. Poirier also touched on Islam's awkward but effective striking, saying that it works because opponents are constantly worried about the takedown threat.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's gonna get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's going to go.
Charles Oliveira recognized Jack's danger as a patient fighter who doesn't rush finishes. He mentioned that Jack gradually breaks down his opponents, just like he did to Belal. That said, Oliveira still thinks Islam will be strong at 170 and could rely heavily on grappling. For him, the result depends on whether Jack can keep the fight standing or if Islam dominates on the ground.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
O Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que... Ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. É o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Belal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Belal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta. Mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo, é o time.
Robert Whittaker addressed the challenge of switching weight classes. He said that going up brings new physical and strategic complications. However, he still trusts Islam's toolkit and believes he can do everything Belal did, only better.
Definitely, but like I said, it is hard to try to get an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Coach Javier Mendez commented as well. While he wasn't certain that Jack is Islam's toughest challenge to date, he did say Islam is fully locked in and embracing the matchup. Mendez praised Islam's concentration and skill, calling him a fighter unlike anyone Jack has ever dealt with. He also believes that welterweight fits Islam's body well, and that his dominance will carry over into the new division.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, Islam's a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Mendez also emphasized that their team isn't underestimating Jack in any way. He said Jack's performance against Belal showed just how dangerous he really is. He also highlighted Belal's toughness and praised Jack's ability to overcome it, saying that alone makes him a legitimate threat.
If we as coaches think Jack is easier, we're stupid.
Yep.
We are very stupid. Then we didn't watch the Belal fight, because Belal can take a hell of a shot. He can take a hell of a shot, and he took him. And he gave him 2. Belal gave him 2. So it was a war. That fight was a war. And you know what? For us to think it's an easy fight for us, what kind of idiot coaches are we? Khabib's not an idiot, and neither am I. And neither is Magomed, neither is Saif Safullah and Muhammad, the other coaches that they work with Islam. We're not stupid.
He went on to break down Jack's striking game, saying it's unpredictable and diverse, with fast kicks and sharp punches. He noted that Ilia might be the more accurate striker, but Jack brings a broader arsenal overall. According to Mendez, Islam will need to be flawless on fight night. There's no room for error in a fight like this.
We know what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a much bigger guy and just as dangerous, if not more dangerous in different variations. Not boxing, because I think Topuria's got the best boxing in the business. I still believe that. But Jack is well versed in the kicking and the arsenal, how he mixes it up. He's really good at head and body, leg, everything. He's really, really good at that. So we have our hands cut out for us. It's not an easy fight at all. If Islam, by some miracle of a chance, makes that fight to be like slam dunk, it's because we were properly prepared, or Jack wasn't as prepared, or Jack was injured, or Jack just got caught. But it's gonna be one of those fights. It's not easy. No way in hell is that fight gonna be easy. Very tough fight.
Aljamain Sterling gave one of the boldest takes, predicting that Jack would dominate Islam when defending his welterweight title. Sterling pointed out that Jack's knockout power and physical size would make it hard for Islam to wrestle effectively. He also said that if Jack wins, the hype for a future Islam versus Ilia matchup would completely vanish.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and when you watch JDM, you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Dan Hardy ranked this fight as one of the most exciting possible bouts right now, second only to John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. He's intrigued by Islam's move up in weight, but raised concerns over whether the UFC would allow him to keep the lightweight title. Hardy admitted that Islam might be unbeatable at 155, but he's unsure if that success will translate at 170. He also questioned how long Jack can stay on top.
I thought he was very, very impressive. It would be awesome to see Makhachev move up and fight him. I did see that Makhachev said he's not going to relinquish his lightweight belt. So I don't know how that's going to fly with the UFC, because I think they're putting a stop on double champs now, aren't they? But it would be a fight I would love to see. That's probably one of the best super fights you could make right now, aside from obviously John Jones against Tom Aspinall, which is the blockbuster. I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, on any day, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But Della Maddalena looked very, very sharp against Belal. And I wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight, whether he would look as strong and as lean, or whether he would look heavier and, potentially gas himself out, because he'd be stepping straight into a 5-round fight, wouldn't he?
Ian Garry admitted it's a tough call. He acknowledged Islam's complete skill set, but emphasized that adding 15 pounds changed the fight completely. Garry pointed to Jack's power, his high-level boxing, and his improving takedown defense. Still, he gave Islam a slight edge based on overall skills.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra 15 pounds, when you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by Islam. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like the phenomenal mixed martial artist he is.
Chael Sonnen raised an interesting point. If Islam loses to Jack, will he remain at welterweight and pursue another title, or return to lightweight? Sonnen noted that fighters like Islam and Ilia are driven by the hunger to hold championship gold. In his words, nothing in MMA is more important than chasing titles.
If he loses to Jack, does he get right back in the mix at 170? His way back to that title shot. Is that what he does, or is he way back down to 155 pounds? Was Ilia what he's going through now? What it is Islam in the announcement that we just got? What I'm attempting to prove to you is there is nothing in this sport that matters more to the fighters than the weight.
Renato Moicano called the fight a 50-50 split. He acknowledged Islam's size advantage at lightweight and elite grappling, but warned that moving up to welterweight means dealing with a new kind of challenge. Moicano believes Islam will need time to physically adjust and that the fight is balanced.
So Islam versus JDM, I think they probably should be even, you know, because even though Islam is a good grappler, he's big for 155. He's moving to 170. We never know, you know. I think he needs to take some time to work on to gain weight, to gain power, you know, to gain strength. So that's why the odds are even, and I think they should be even.
Jack Hermansson admitted it's difficult to predict how well Islam will perform in a new division. While he sees Islam as nearly unbeatable at lightweight, possibly the best pound for pound right now, he's unsure whether that same dominance will exist at 170. He applauded Jack's showing against Belal, but said he'd like to see more before fully gauging Jack's ceiling.
Yeah, it's so hard because you never know when people are changing weight classes. But in lightweight, you know, Islam looks like unbeatable. It's just like maybe the pound for pound best. It's just so insanely good. But can he do it in a weight class above? I'm not sure. Really, really hard to predict a fight like that. I think I still have to say Islam.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, we need to see a few more fights with Jack. It looked amazing against Bilal, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's something about Islam is just so good.
That wraps up today's breakdown. What's your take on the matchup? Do you think Islam can dominate at welterweight, or is Jack the man to stop him? Drop your predictions in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Also, don't miss the other videos we've got lined up for you. Check them out right now.